The Los Angeles Lakers, I believe, at the end of this season, had a 15-7 record to close out the regular season, which is the best record post All-Star break.
Mhm.
They went from a 12th seed to the 7th seed in the Western Conference. And they are currently in a win now, become the 7th seed against the lacking or imploding Minnesota Timberwolves. So with the interesting narratives revolving around Minnesota and the Lakers being one of the hotter teams in the league, give me your thoughts on who's going to come out of this game and why. Boy, I wonder who you're going to pick.
Yeah, just give it away. I'm going with the Lakers on this one. Obviously, I'm a Lakers fan, so there may be a little bit of bias here, but I'm going to put my bias aside. I'm just going to look at this game as objectively as I can. When it comes to the Lakers going up against the Timberwolves, the Lakers are going up against a Timberwolves team that I think is just going to be undermanned compared to what they had literally 2 to 3 days ago. We're not talking about where some players on Minnesota suffered some significant injuries and they've missed a lot of time. We look at the situation that the Timberwolves are going through. Kyle Anderson and Rudy Gobert got into a scrap the other day on the sideline during a timeout, and they had to be separated, and Rudy Gobert was suspended for this upcoming Lakers game. He didn't even go on the flight to LA for this game. So Minnesota was on the mindset, it's like, no, you're not going anywhere. You're suspended, and you're just going to have to accept it. And then on top of that, you've got Jaden McDaniels, who received a technical foul, I think got tossed out of the game, and then proceeded to walk down the tunnel and punch the wall in the tunnel and fracture his hand. So you're talking about not having Rudy Gobert, who's an excellent rim protector, gets a bunch of rebounds. Granted, not the strongest offensive player, but that's a big body that you're going to miss. And then you got Jaden McDaniels, who has the potential to get some decent shots up and put up some decent point performances out with a broken hand. Now you're basically just going to roll with Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns. Is that going to be enough to contend with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and essentially some pretty solid role players that the Lakers have been getting great minutes from ever since the Lakers made this trade to get rid of Russell Westbrook and bring D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley into the fold? The Lakers have been running and gunning. And I think when it comes to just the cachet that these guys are bringing into the fold compared to what the Timberwolves have at their disposal, I don't think it's going to be enough. I think the Lakers are going to run away with this one pretty quickly. The last time that the Lakers and the Timberwolves played against each other, Anthony Davis dropped 38 points and 17 rebounds. Just absolutely balled out. Minnesota had no answer. And now you're going to tell AD, oh, well, you only have to worry about Karl Anthony Towns because you don't have to worry about Rudy Gobert. I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Davis goes off for another 30-point performance and gets probably somewhere around 15, 16 rebounds. I think he has a very good potential to hit that. And not only that, I think, with LeBron finally getting more healthy from that foot injury, I think when he came back against the Timberwolves, I think he was just fresh off of rehabbing that foot injury. I think he's going to be ready to go. He had a nice closeout to the regular season, had a nice 30-point performance, hit 8 threes in the closeout game for the Lakers for the regular season. I think that he's going into this play-in tournament game on a hot stretch. I wouldn't be surprised if he drops somewhere around 25, 30 points as well alongside AD. And then you look at the role players. You look at D'Angelo Russell. You look at Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reeves. All of these guys have stepped up in a tremendous way for the Lakers over the last month or so. And that's why Kevin said it at the top. The Lakers have been pretty much one of the best teams in the NBA, if not arguably the best team in the NBA post All-Star break. And when I look at the rotations that these guys are running, they have a pretty solid rotation. And I think if they win this game, they would clinch that 7th seed in the Western Conference. And I think it would set them up nicely going up against the Grizzlies in the first round of the playoffs. So we'll see how things play out when it comes to the Lakers and the Timberwolves. I think when it comes to the Timberwolves, they're just too depleted in this game. And you look at the Lakers, they've been on a hot streak of late. I think that momentum carries them into this game. And I think the Lakers win this one convincingly. This has the potential to be a blowout game as far as I see it too. I'm going to give a little bit of respect to the Timberwolves. I think the effort is still going to be there. I just don't think they're going to be able to make enough shots. I think the Lakers win this one by about 10 to potentially 15 points. And I think the Lakers cruise their way into the playoffs, clinching that 7th seed.
I'm going to agree to the fact of one thing. The potential of a blowout is there, but I think I'm going to go in a different direction. Rather than go the AD being the X factor here, I'm going D'Angelo Russell. I think he's going to have a little bit of you wanted to trade me. Great. Granted, it was a better situation in Los Angeles, but at the time, Minnesota and LA were kind of like in the same bubble of like flirting with a play-in. Obviously, they're still in it, but I meant like lower seeded wise. Minnesota was still trying to find their identity. Obviously, you had the injury to Karl Anthony Towns where he was gone for a while, and like the chemistry between Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert was a little rough. But I'm talking about Minnesota was quick to get rid of D'Angelo, and I think that he's going to sit there and say, you know what? I'm going to show you what you're losing. I'm going to show you what you gave up, and I'm going to bust your ass. I really think that D'Angelo Russell brought a different kind of animal to the Lakers lineup. I'm not going to sit here and say that Russell Westbrook didn't provide a spark off the bench. I don't want to say that Russell Westbrook wasn't a top man for Sixth Man of the Year candidate, but D'Lo is just a different breed right now. I mean, like he's just better offensively sound. He obviously is a way better shooter than Russell Westbrook. He may not be the rebounder or the facilitator that Russ is, but for what the Lakers needed at the moment or in that moment, it was perfect. You needed another person that can score off the ball. You needed another person that could score when LeBron and AD are off the floor. You needed someone that can run the pick and roll while at the same time being able to knock down shots. And that's what D'Angelo Russell has done for the Lakers. Now, before we even get into Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, Mo Bamba, I think that genuinely, based upon what Minnesota has lost in a perimeter defender in Jaden McDaniels, in a rim protector in Rudy Gobert, the potential for this to be a disgusting blowout is there because you lost your two best defenders. Karl Anthony Towns, let's be frank, he's not exactly known for someone that's going to go and protect the rim, block shots, and alter things. He has been shown to be very soft. On the offensive side, he can go out there and give you 35 and 12. It's not a question. But we all know that Anthony Davis is a lot more of a physical defender than Karl Anthony Towns is. So I think that is going to be a very interesting matchup in and of itself. But Mike Conley's not what he once was. He's on the older side of in his later 30s. And then, of course, him and D'Angelo Russell, they were swapped point guard for point guard. So I believe that D'Lo's going to take advantage of that. And then I'm missing the biggest piece. 38-year-old LeBron James. Who's going to guard him? I don't know, because it sure as shit wasn't going to be McDaniels. I think that McDaniels is a little bit smaller, a lot skinnier. That would have probably been D'Lo's assignment, but I don't know what Minnesota is going to do between this three-headed monster. And Kyle already talked about when you talk about the other additional role players, like a Schroeder, like a Vanderbilt that can hit some open shots, like a shooter like Malik Beasley can if he gets a couple going. He's a deadly person to watch on the outside. LA's hot at the right time. Minnesota truly is crumbling from within at the epitome of the worst time in the season. And I think that the Lakers solidify themselves as the 7th seed, and they'll be facing Memphis if they win this game in a 7-game series. So I'm interested to see how that goes.